Hey, welcome back to another Monday Musings video. In today's video, I want to talk about wonder, specifically that childlike, innocent awe when you're watching a movie. I think everyone here can remember probably a very specific memory from childhood where you were watching a movie, maybe in the theater, and you just felt that sense of awe, as those opening credits rolled, right? And it's this excitement of what's to come. I think we all have memories of that happening. When we were kids. Some maybe just watching a movie with the family for the first time. That sensation of being super excited because you have no idea what's to come, and just being awed by the spectacle that you see on the screen. Now, I didn't watch a ton of movies in theaters as a little child, but I do remember a very specific memory of going to see Dolphin Tale 2 with my uncle and sister. And I mean, it's not a movie that you remember as having great spectacle or whatever, but just being in that theater, being surrounded by that sound, and watching a movie with a story that I understood as a little child was kind of a magical experience. So what I often think about when I'm watching movies now, pretentious cinephile that I am, is that oftentimes it's easy to lose, in the bog of all the movies that we're watching, that we're trying to analyze and we're trying to think deeply about, or even just the sheer amount of media that's being thrown at us. It's easier for us to lose that sensation of awe and of wonder and of curiosity when it comes to watching movies. That concept of wonder, I think, is really, really important because it goes back to the reason why cinema was invented in the first place. People invented this medium of capturing videos so that they could wow people by this incredible new technology. It's art, just like painting and drawing, right? Being able to capture something that you see in front of you so that you can show it to someone and they can be inspired by the beauty that they see in front of them. One of the first films that was ever shown in a theater setting was of a train coming into a train station, and those original audiences were so shocked and scared by the fact that they saw a moving image in front of them. That's the kind of magical experience that I think is so cool and unique about cinema, because we can go to a theater or sit in front of a TV or a laptop or our phone even, and we can see moving images that draw us into a story, and we can envelop ourselves in that world simply by watching that film with the right mindset. And so what I often do when I'm watching movies is try to get into that zone. When those opening credits are rolling, feel that excitement, feel that adrenaline, that thrill that you're about to experience something that could change your life, or even just something that's going to inspire you to think about life in a different way, or even just images that are so beautiful that they floor you and your jaw drops to the floor. So I have this deep desire to go back to that sensation, that childhood, awe of spectacle and of beauty and of things that are cool to look at on a screen. It's really curiosity, right? It's like a pure, unrestrained interest in what you're about to see. That is the power of cinema. Right? So if we can watch movies, with that mindset, instead of being like really critical, like, okay, is this a good movie? Like, I'm not a fan of dialogue or whatever. Watch movies sometimes. It's great to watch movies sometimes that just fill you with awe, that just have spectacle to them. That's just unabashedly beautiful. Again, not movies that are just like cash grabs that are not even made very well but have some cool visuals, but movies that have a true beauty to them. Movies that are going to bring you back to that curiosity and that wonder. See, the thing is that the killer of this sensation of wonder is, subliminal messaging. It's motives that are put behind films, and it's pretentiousness, right? It's creating a movie either for the sake of making money, right? It's a formula, just like social media, just like the algorithms that we're all addicted to in our modern era. It's not about beauty, it's not about art anymore, it's not about inspiration. It's just about, having certain political motives or certain messaging that you have to put in your films, or things that are going to make money. Right? Like, that's what ruins that sense of childlike wonder, because it's not innocent anymore. You're not unrestrainedly interested in what you're watching anymore. You're analyzing it and trying to see if it's even moral, right? I think that's a tragic thing. So here's the thing that I would recommend that, casual movie watchers do. Watch movies with your eyes open. I remember a priest from when I was about 14 or 15 years old at my church. He had asked a question that stuck with me. He was like, do you watch a movie, when you're watching a movie, do you watch it like this? Lean back in your chair, just kind of not really caring? Or do you watch it like this? Leaning forward into the screen, really getting into what's going on? And that question has always stuck with me. And I remember as a kid being like, well, I don't care that much. I don't want to be controlled by the story. You know, but the more that I've got into this art form, the more I've realized that the beauty of storytelling, the beauty of parables, is that they can really shape us and they can really change who we are in a positive way, right? Of course, there's always the negative aspect of manipulation, but manipulation can be used for a really, really beautiful purpose. So I would recommend that all of y'all, when you're watching a movie, watch it with your eyes open, get into the story, see what you can glean from that, and see what you can get that will make you a better person, what's going to edify you, what's going to educate you about that film. Get those things out of it, right? And if you're watching movies that you can't get any of that out of, then I'd recommend finding different movies to watch that are going to ignite that spark of childlike wonder in you once again. All right, so here are my recommendations for movies that are just, they're going to fill you with that awe and sometimes have some of that spectacle, that's going to, reignite that spark of childlike wonder. We got The Sound of Music. That is a classic, right? It's a musical. It's gonna, bring you back to your childhood. If you haven't already seen it, you have to. La La Land is a modern, style film along the same lines. It's unabashedly joyful, but it's got some realism to it as well, so it's got some philosophy to dig into. Top Gun Maverick is a newer one that, at least for me personally, man, just like the flying, the soaring through the air, really fills me with that sense of wonder. The Grand Budapest Hotel, really most anything from Wes Anderson is going to have that childlike feel to it, but I think Grand Budapest is the most beautiful, visually and tonally out of all his films. And then, of course, Lord of the Rings is the series that's going to fill you with the most wonder and awe out of any film that I could recommend. So anyway, those are just my personal recommendations along those lines. Again, as always, I would recommend that you thoroughly research and find out as much as you can about these films to make sure that they're not something that's going to, traumatize you or be something that's not good for especially my sensitive viewers out there. So those are not things that I'm saying everyone should necessarily watch, but for me personally, brought me back to that state of childlike innocence and wonder. All right, guys, that's it for this week. God bless and happy watching.